What's up, everybody? Welcome in to Scurry and the Scrub. I am Scurry, Jordan Scurry to be exact, and my co-host Matt DeMarinas is the Scrub. Matt, welcome in. How are you doing on
So,
this beautiful Sunday?
Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year,
Happy
Jordan.
New Year! Happy New Year, everyone! Happy New Year! We're excited to be back here for a new year. Hope you guys are all doing well, all staying safe, healthy. We're
We
excited to
survived
get into it
2020.
here.
Survived
We
2020.
survived 2020, so we're gonna have a little bit more energy here because 2021 is gonna be a better year. So, just
It
happy to be
better
here.
be, damn
Happy,
it.
happy
Like,
to
how
be
could it be
doing our thing.
worse? What if it's worse? What
No,
if it's worse?
yeah. See, this is the problem.
That's
This is why I had to do the intro because this is your first. We're letting you talk for a full sentence here, and your first thing is, what if 2021 is worse?
I'm just
Like,
I
why do you have to be such a pessimist? Like, why couldn't
I'm
we?
not hold
I'm
up
on a
though.
good vibe right now. Like, we couldn't have just built on what I got going on. We had to knock me down back to reality.
It's
Like,
not about a vibe. It's like I'm not glass half full or glass half empty. I'm just kinda like a glass. It's like just you know what I mean? It's
so you have no
ready for
control over
whatever.
your glass. You don't want to.
Yeah, right. I don't want
Well,
anyone pouring it
I
for me whether
control.
it's too short or
I
too
want to. I want to control my glass, and I want my
okay.
glass to be half full this whole year.
The whole
So,
year. Okay.
or full, not
I'm
half full,
just,
full,
I'm
full.
just, I'm just like,
Be
I'm
balanced.
apprehensive about like 2021 being demonstratively better than 2020. I'm like, wait, what if 2020 we look back and that was like actually the good year, and like it gets worse.
Wow, that is super sadistic. I mean, that is a very, very dark cloud coming here over me in
I
Boston,
mean, 2020
Massachusetts.
wasn't all bad. You guys won a title. That was cool. It started off like awesome,
At the beginning,
and then it like
but
fell
we
off a
had
cliff.
no
Then it fell off a
idea.
cliff like right away. Like actually, if you start with Marcus's injury, it fell off a cliff like with 50 seconds left, basically.
Uh, did it though? Like, I mean, we can look at it that way, but I'm gonna throw the optimism back at you here, and I'm gonna say, you know what, 2020, even though like it started great, definitely, and then I just think a lot of stuff got exposed and became real and all that, and
Yeah.
now we've been led to a point where now I think we can make something of it. And I think 2020 is what we I mean, I think 2021 is what we make of 2020.
Okay.
And I think no matter what, like even with any type of like real, like with whatever happens, like law wise and like what's really going on, I think mentally and uh how we all like our all everyone's mindset going forward, I think is just in a better place, just given what we know now. Because I think we learned a lot. I think I learned the most in 1 year in my life in 2020.
Really. So
Do you
like,
not? Do you not? Do you not
uh,
think we were forced to? We all had to like deal with a lot of real hard stuff, like
I
in
definitely
figuring
tried
out.
to learn a lot. I'll tell you, I don't know. I don't know if I'm confident that I know enough yet. Like, but I'll tell
No,
you
I
what.
don't. I don't.
I'm gonna
I'm not.
follow
I
you.
wouldn't say that
You
either.
know, Captain America, Winter Soldier, or whatever. Where he's like, I'm with you to the
Yeah.
end of the line. You know that line?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'm with Jordan Scurry till the end of the line. So wherever you want to go, let's ride. Like I'm good with that.
Well, I want to go into this podcast. So let's just dive into it and stop reefing on 2020 in the year that it was. And let's get into 2021.
I'm ready. I'll follow you.
Well, so you know who I want to follow is CB. And I wish I could have followed him all the way up to the rim yesterday.
Oh,
And he
like on
got to
his
the
like
game
kind of like on his cape or whatever, as I say, right?
on
On
his cape
paper.
as he saved that game from almost being a disaster. But
Did did that have like 2018, 2019 season vibes to you? Just like kind of like, where's this lead going all of a sudden?
no, it
Oh,
had realistic to me. It was yeah, it was just annoying because like you felt the whole game like Creighton was like had the lead and was gonna hold it until the end. You were like they were gonna win. You felt like they were gonna win that game until the last like 2 minutes.
oh, really? Then you were like, oh, I
Well,
don't.
no, I mean
I'm trying to think like
then
when
it
I don't know. I just kind of like
no, it was to me definitely the last 2 minutes because I think they had a lot. They had a lot of like because with Mitch playing so well and them hitting such like deep shots and Marcus finally getting his groove back, you're like, oh, okay, like definitely good. This is going to be a commanding win up until the end, and then you were like, oh, of course, it's going to be a close, grinded out Providence game, and Providence is going to do the Providence thing and slow Creighton down, the team that plays best the fastest, like, and I was just like, you know what, for it to end on a dunk like that, I was happy because I just thought it showed how hard all those guys were playing, and especially like, that's what I mean, like a lot of guys for Creighton had good games, and I was like, of course there's going to be like this many guys that have good games and they're going to lose like within the last 2 minutes. Of course it's going to happen. That's what the old reminiscent vibes gave me. But then when they kind of pulled it out at the end there, I was like, okay, wait, this team has something different. You can tell, like in their men, like for that to be the way it ended, it's like, okay, that's not what a team like a 2018 Creighton was like. It's like they have some more.
That's what I mean. I don't think I sweat this team much.
No,
like,
exactly.
Like I kind of think like I kind of think they're gonna figure it out because they've been there before. So you know,
but that showed it showed yesterday. That's what that showed yesterday, which is awesome.
Yeah. No, I think just that whole play was crazy because it just shows you. I keep laughing about this, but because I think people, and it's happening less so in this recent maybe last 2 months of last year and so far this year, like I think fans are starting to trust the kind of systemic things that Mac puts in place for you guys that become muscle memory in a game.
Yeah, I agree.
Because past, like, you go to the NCAA tournament and you don't play well offensively and it kind of like fades into kind of like a dud, and people are wondering like what's the ceiling of a Greg McDermott like team, basically, like can his system win in March and April, basically. But yesterday's win was a total like max system win because you guys have had so many reps just doing exactly what Marcus and Christian did. I mean, what everybody did. Like Mitchell right the spots, like Damian cutting, Marcus just pushing the ball up, Christian filling at the rim. Like all of that is muscle memory. Like nobody was shook after Providence tied it. You know what I mean? That wasn't like a big momentum swing. Providence tied it, and then Christian immediately got the ball into Marcus, and then Marcus raced down the floor, and like Providence was the one who was shook. They had no organization whatsoever.
Because they knew what they saw from Providence all day long. And I think the point you're bringing up is great just because it's like Marcus, like you're saying, like they were never shook after even that play because they knew what they were getting by doing what they were doing all day to that Providence defense. Like they knew what they could get that next time down the court.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying they knew they could get it done because it's of all things, I think that's the last thing you think. But I think they knew how they could attack that defense still on that last play. Like I think in both of their minds after it happened, like getting scored on wasn't ever even in the back of their heads. They were like, oh wait, like we have this much time. Like these are all the things we could get right now. Like that's how they were thinking. And to be that forward thinking of a team is huge. Like for them to be such a next play mentality team and to be like, we'll figure this out. We can always figure this out on the fly. And we have this much clicking, and to have confidence in that is huge. Huge.
Oh, for sure. Because like, I just don't think they've run into a moment where they're panicking yet. They haven't.
No, I haven't seen it either.
Yeah.
There's no visible panic, at least.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I've seen it. And I know it because I've been there too. I hate getting trapped. You know that pressure in the backcourt. Like, why do that? I just want to shoot. I just want to shoot. Yeah, leave me alone. Go somebody else.
How hyped would you have been on the bench if you were like in uniform for that? Like,
oh, I would have got. I could have ruined that one for us. I would. I might have given Christian and I's relationship. Given that Christian, that's like my bro. Like that's brother. Like I would have ran on. Like I saw one of the managers look the most hype. I thought after. And I was like, so I would have been that on steroids. So I would have like ran onto the court, like tried to chest bump CB, probably gotten the tech, ruined it for us. Like they would have been, It might have been bad, man.
I think that's what I don't know if you ever watched like old Creighton games or whatever, but remember when they beat Florida at the buzzer with Terrell Taylor double overtime or whatever? Like he bangs that three with like I don't know, there was like .2 left or something. It wasn't even enough time for shit, but like everybody that runs on the court, there was like 3 bench players. Like 3 bench players were like running with Taylor like on the court, and it's like, wait a minute, you guys.
What happens?
Billy Donovan's like, hold up, why aren't you teeing these dudes up?
What happens is you think of like, because what I was thinking at the time is I'm just thinking about my relationship with CB and how much he probably is like, yo, if it ever comes down to it, and I get the opportunity, I'm gonna make a game winner. Like the amount of conversations like we've had about that, and then for him to do it, I would have just blacked out and be like, you did it, and ran on the court, and be like, you the man, or you the.
You know what? The COVID protocols probably would have saved your ass because they're like so far back, like
I would have
like Antoine and everybody and like Jacob, like you would have lost your mind, but you would like had a bunch of space to cover still. So that might have like helped you maybe is having the chairs a little bit further back, you know. So because you'd have to run through the front row of chairs and like probably tripped and fell and it would have looked bad on national television.
That point, you come on, man. You know me. I would have been like,
you don't want to face plant on national television.
But but I also would have been like, yo, if I can get some, if I can run out here and chest bump CB on national TV, like, you know, I would have been trying to do that. That's what.
Then my old teacher would have come up to you. Are you crying because you're hurt? Or are you crying because you're embarrassed? And you'd have been like,
I have a feeling one of the coaches probably would have snatched me before I could have got to the court.
Yeah.
They would have been like, Scurry, don't ruin this for us. Like, we just won on the road at Providence. Like
Murph would have got you for sure.
Murph or Casey. It would have been Murph or Casey.
Yeah. Was Murph holding you back when Marcus gamed Xavier that year? Was that what Murph was doing? Who was Murph holding back? I thought it was either you or TC.
It had to be TC because TC sat right next to him. Yeah.
Okay.
TC used to sit right next to him because TC had that seat to check back in. Yeah.
I think Murph was like pissed that Marcus was shooting that, and then like when he hit it, like he had to like go into restraint the player mode or whatever. So it's like it was a wave of emotion from like no, okay, I got to stop everybody from getting on the court here. That was crazy.
That was crazy. But yeah, there's good moments. That was a good one. But yeah, no, good for CB. Happy for the guys. Glad they pulled that one out. Great game. What'd you think? Who'd you think was the real player of the game, though?
I mean, it was like
so. Obviously, we go CB could give us the play of the game, but for Creighton, who was the player of the game? Because a lot of guys stepped up yesterday.
It was trending. It was like trending. It was like a trending DJ for me, but the lane violation and the foul on the rebound kind of. And I think he had a turnover against the press. So like late, he kind of made some mistakes that maybe don't look great on the big picture of his performance because Providence capitalized on those things. That's not to say DJ wasn't freaking awesome. But I think Marcus gets the edge now because DJ kind of had some mistakes late, and then Marcus made the play to get CB the ball basically, and then he had 20, he had 6 threes, 4 assists, 7 boards. Like he was really good. So I think Marcus gets the edge just because DJ was a little bit mistake prone late, some uncharacteristic mistakes for him. But dude, he balled out like 6 steals. Like that one where he was like tracing the ball and it was just like a simple little entry pass over his head. He just snatched that thing like a wide receiver. Like whoa, like he just picked that thing off.
Okay, Kawhi. Like,
right. I know.
Yeah,
I was like, jeez.
Yeah, but no, I agree. I thought back. I mean, watching the game, I was really high. Like the energy like DJ brings to these games is like insane. Like I think he really, for a lot of the Creighton players will attest to this. Like for guys who have played with DJ, like to see him play so hard, like next to you, like it's motivating. It gets you going, and I really do think that. Yeah, and I think that's what gets guys like. Even sometimes, like I mean, Mitch gets himself going, but I think sometimes when he's looking for a little juice, when he sees Dame come in there and kind of like the pace, because Dame runs like at a like Mitch runs like a ton around just covering ground, but like when Dame comes in there and like you have someone to match that, like I thought that brought great energy and like how hard he played and it brought everybody's level up. But I think you're right in the sense that Marcus was the player of the game yesterday, just because his ability to shoot the ball. He was the only player that shot the ball consistently, or was hitting shots like the same way in the first four, in the last four.
Yeah.
Like Dame had a stretch where he was hitting, Mitch had a stretch where he was hitting. There was a couple from other guys here and there, but Marcus was the only one who had he was like, okay, I'm gonna hit these shots at the beginning of the game and then hit them at the end of the game.
Yeah, dude. I actually went back this morning, and I don't know about you, but I don't sleep after games. Like after games, I'm like I would try to put a big picture together. So I got up at 6 this morning and was just kind of cracking some numbers on DJ. And it's Big East seasons are basically 18 games before Big East tournament, right? Yep. So if you go back over Creighton's last 18 against league teams or whatever, you guys are 15, or you guys, I mean, you're part of it. You got a couple of those dubs. 15-3, which is the best record of anybody in the league right now over the last 18. Wow. And DJ's averaging 11.1 points, 6 boards, 2 assists. He has 20 steals and only 26 turnovers. So the giveaways, the takeaways is really, really good. And then he's shooting 61% on 140 shot attempts and 37% from 3 on 30 3-point attempts, basically. So he's been really good for a long time, basically since you guys got on a roll. Yeah. His level of play is almost synchronized with your guys' stretch run last year into the 4-1 start this year. So, I mean, I think I was making the argument too, he might be the MVP of the team right now, the way he's playing. Marcus is probably most important. Mitch has a lot of value in terms of what he does that doesn't show up in the box score. Denzel is probably your primary off-ball scorer and top defensive option in terms of guarding their team's best player. We've talked about Christian a lot. But DJ might be the MVP because he just does everything across the board at a pretty high level, and there doesn't just seem to be an area of his game where that has to be covered up by somebody in order for it not to be exploited. You know what I'm saying? He just does everything.
I agree. I think he's a great. He's just a great it guy. He makes everything work. He helps the team in so many ways to even I was just saying, whether it's him just getting in the game and running at the pace he runs with and getting other guys to run at that pace as well. Whether it's something as simple as that or actually coming in the game and being you know what, we haven't scored in a couple possessions. We need to get a bucket. He's done that. He had one yesterday. I remember he drove right and pulled up on the right block. It was a kind of isolation play late into the shot clock, but it was I want to say maybe 12 minutes left to go in the second half. And it was they hadn't scored in a couple possessions. And sometimes you moving it around and obviously you try to get the best shot, you try to get all that, and it just wasn't working for just a few possessions. I don't know what it was, but his ability to, at that point, realize that in that moment in the game, how critical that bucket was, and maybe he wasn't even thinking it, but that was a huge bucket. That cut it within 4 and then allowed them to get a couple stops together before they even scored again. But critical moments he plays well at, and I think it's really helping this team.
And then I can get caught up earlier I was talking about the mistakes he made at the end of the game. But if Creighton wins by 2, you can go back and add up all the moments where he made a huge play that ended up mattering at the end. That's what we talked about earlier with when we were talking about the Marquette game a few episodes back. Those little plays add up at the end. So all the 6 steals, that's 6 possessions for Providence where they don't get anything on the rim.
They didn't get it.
They don't get a chance to offensive rebound or bully.
I just don't think people get how huge that is.
Yeah,
it's huge when you
because live ball turnovers. You guys I mean, Creighton
and like you said, one of the more impressive stats for a game like that is, when Dame was turning it over, Providence was capitalizing.
Yes.
Maybe it was because late in the game, more pressure, you have to, but no, they were capitalizing. So.
Yeah.
Think of how much they would have capitalized with 6 more possessions.
Right.
How important is that now?
So yeah, like as much as many mistakes as he made at the end, it didn't offset how much he took from them. Basically, yeah, totally agree. So yeah, he's my MVP so far. Like, no disrespect to the guys that get more shine, but it's hard to look at like everything he does. If people just watch the game and like zone in on DJ possessions, just like watch him do things, like watch him cut, watch him screen, watch him get in the paint when teams are playing zone, watch
how he's talking to other guys, like watch where he's saying where you should be, like some of that stuff.
Watch how he responds to Mac when he makes a mistake.
Watch how he takes criticism from Mac and just what it means like for other guys, because he's again one of the guys who's been in the program for the longest. So like, do you like? I mean, I haven't been around, but so it's like, do you not think from how DJ's reacting to what he says, like Alex isn't learning how to do that too, and also like
Antoine,
find his role, Antoine as well. Like, no, I think it's great to see his progression just as a player in that system. Like he's taken a lot of time, man, to like find ways to seriously have success in that, and it's awesome to see now. Like he's really had to take time, and I know he's like personally been through a lot just to get to where he's at now. So it's awesome to see.
He almost quit.
That's because he does exactly. He did.
This whole thing almost didn't even get started. Like he was
never even happened.
He didn't even talk to any of you guys. He didn't feel like he fit in. He was like feeling like alone out here, and it was like it took like a whole like 4 or 5 months before
he didn't know if he could do the. He didn't know if he was really feeling the school part of it. He didn't know if he was. And redshirt year is tough, man. You're not playing. You're not really like he felt out of it, and he didn't like. That's what I mean. Like even to see him have these relationships with the coaches he has now, like he had to work for this. Like he had to get to this point where he was like, nah, I need you guys to understand that I'm this type of player leader and really about this. And so to see that all come into fruition as someone I definitely can say I believed in from the day one when we had the conversations about it. Like it's awesome to see where he's gotten and what he's been doing.
Yeah,
it's all work. People don't know, but it's all work.
Who were the guys too? Like shout out to Marcus and Kyrie for kind of like getting integrated and stuff. Yeah. Like I felt like he leaned on them a lot.
All the vets that we had at the time, like whether it was like the Marcus, Kyrie, who else we had? Two.
Well, Toby would have been one of them.
We had Toby. We had Cash was there. Man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just
Cash
guys who had Connor Cashaw, guys who had real experience in like college basketball, like and really knew how to have success. Like I think he spent good amounts of time like picking their brains and being like, you know what do I need to do to kind of get myself to that level? And because he always knew he was that caliber of guy. Yeah. And I think he just needed to figure out what he had to do to
Dude, I'm glad Connor Cashaw needs a ring. Like Connor Cashaw deserves a Big East tournament or Big East title ring. Because I remember so many conversations with like you
he
Mitch,
does like he does just as much as I do.
They don't understand how good of a teammate he was when you guys lost like 4 games in a row like twice. Remember that year where you guys like went into those slumps where you couldn't finish games or whatever? And like I remember Mitch was telling me like, dude, he's seriously like the best teammate I've ever had. Like because he knows how to like take the good with the bad, wash it and learn from it and move on and like kind of keep your head above water. Mm-hmm. And then you look at Mitch the next year, he was totally emulating all of those personality traits. And it's like Connor had like a big impact in terms of like teaching
on the Creighton program, just on the Creighton program in general. And I will say he had a very similar impact on me just because when he came in, like as accomplished as he was as a player at Rice and just the way you heard coaches talk about Connor at the time, like when he even was going around, like trying to figure out a school, like when he was being recruited, like the way you would hear coaches talk about Connor is the way as players, like we want to be talked about. Like they had the utmost respect for him. Right. And so we all were like, you know what, this is somebody who we just need to learn from. And Mitch did a great job of that. And Mitch has always been that kind of unselfish guy, but it was awesome to have Connor around just because the way he carried himself was awesome because it was like he knew how the coaches had this respect for him and how professionals had a respect for him, but he also knew his role on the team and his relationship with his teammates mattered more than anything.
Yeah.
And that was where he needed to put his energy. He was like because coaches and all that think all the good things about him because of the relationships he has with his teammates and how he conducts himself in that way.
Yeah.
And he kind of like showed us all. It was like, if you put your all into this and like the team aspect and like really riding for your guys, like everyone will have respect for a guy like that. And so, I mean, that was one of my biggest takeaways from him. And he just, he's had a huge impact on the Creighton program.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I think I've told people a few times, maybe I haven't said it like on the record or anything, but like in conversation, the thing that stood out most to me about that 18-19 team, that, you know, the year that you guys were, 500 and kind of went through those slumps, before you took off and won the title last year. You guys, I don't remember the 18-19 squad having bad practices. So like,
oh yeah, no,
you guys would lose. You guys would come off like, you lose a heartbreaker, drop another one, 4 straight losses, come into the gym, and it would look like you guys had just won. Like you had so much energy, so much focus for the next game. And I feel like Connor and Caleb and guys like that were really good at kind of like refocusing everybody. And like, I remember, I don't know if it was 18-19 year or it might've been.
No, but to be real, like,
it was like, I think you guys were finally having a garbage practice. Remember when Mac was gone? Cause, what did he have to go to a funeral? What happened to someone in his family? Right. Like
probably.
So he had to miss practice for a family deal or whatever.
Yeah.
I think his dad was sick, maybe.
His father was real sick around.
Okay. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. So Mac had to miss practice, and it was right before the pink out game against Georgetown. And you guys know how much,
do remember that one.
You guys know how much pink out games matter to Mac. Like they are like,
yes,
you know what I mean? Like it's the one game on the calendar, even more so than Nebraska. Like he wants to like make that just like a perfect day for the fans, the community, the team.
As he should.
Like he hates taking L's.
Which he does a great job of.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a great way to make sure you get that one. Like at that point in the season too, it's a great way. If you can't get up for that cause and really play hard, like come on, like we know what's really going on. He does a great job.
I remember you guys were having a dud the day before Georgetown. Like Mac was gone, and you guys, you guys were like just dogging it, like all like the first half of practice or whatever. And I just remember you and Caleb just flipped a switch. And like the rest of the practice, like popped off like big time. Like you guys finished real good. And I was like, well, that was almost their first dud right there. And I remember noting it the night after the game, like, because you guys played really well and you beat Georgetown or whatever. A pretty good Georgetown team. They had Govan and like,
who was the kid?
Some other really like Pickett was still there.
Pickett was still there. I remember who they had two. They had another kid who went pro.
Dickerson.
I forget the name.
Marcus Dickerson.
Dickerson.
Played for the Warriors. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that was a tough squad, and you guys played really well, beat them, and like. But I was like, I think that's like the first time I learned the impact of like a scout team player can have on a win. You know what I mean? Because I don't remember if you and Caleb got in that game. Caleb probably did some stuff. I just don't remember. You know what I mean? So, but the day before, I mean, your imprint was all over that practice, like setting the tone in terms of what needs to go down, like the scout and everything. How you guys are preparing to defend this team, and like go back and look at the numbers. Like Govan, I think was terrible that day. Like you guys locked him up pretty good, and that's all the day before. That's all that prep that goes into like, guys, we're having a shit practice. We got to focus. That was like my first where I'm like, wow, the scout team won that game basically with the preparation the day before.
And what I will say too, and what still is very true about just the scout team now, and I think what Mac has honestly, and why we were kind of successful and how I got guys going while I was there and on scout team, right? Like it's not only that I felt some type of leadership even at that year and I understood like what was going on, but it was also that like for me to bust my ass as much as I did, and like guys to go through a dud before a game, like even if we were having a bad season, I don't remember what our record was specifically up to that point, but even if it was like, it wasn't good and it didn't look so promising for the NCAA tournament, whatever, every game's an opportunity, right? Like, and so like for me being a scout team guy and like learning all these plays of somebody else's position and all that, like for you to come into like if you're the guy who's supposed to be, I'm Pickett from Georgetown, right? And I know all their plays and I know I'm going through all of it, so you know, and then for you to like go through it as a dud, like not only is coach gonna call you out, but I'm gonna be like, bro, like come on, like I'm not learning this just for you to play more than me. Like I'm learning this so you can stop. Like clearly there's like you can figure something out here, like to do something in this game for us to win. So lock in. Like it's that we always, like the scout team guys were just as serious as the 5 dudes starting the game.
Yeah.
Like we were like, you know what? Like there's probably a reason up to that point, and it's Big East season. So at that point you're like, fuck my pride. Like, let me just be real here. Like, there's probably a reason you're playing over me. So, like, just make sure you know everything more than me and make sure you know all this scout team stuff so that, like, works out. Like, we're all on the same page. We're on the team here. So, I learned that part, too, from a lot of my vets. Like, I had, like, my responsibility in that scout team was to get these guys, like, to be like, you know what? Like, look, if you don't like it for the opportunity you have, understand, like I'll take your opportunity in a heartbeat. So appreciate it. Like I guess that's all I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
And so I thought really early on I knew a good way of being able to communicate that with guys in a way of being like, instead of like attacking them, being like, look, like you got the opportunity. I'm here to help you. So let's get it. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of guys, like after I was able to like learn from the Cashes and the vets, like even the TCs I had of this world, like who were able to help me understand that responsibility, like I was able to carry that on. And that helps the program, man. Like that helps everyday practicing, like, you know, like
but there's probably like some satisfaction in it. There's probably some satisfaction in it for like because if you get to help like cultivate that you know that energy into team success, like you share that. You know what I mean? Like you do all that preparation, you show up to practice first, you do the scout team, you get yourself right, and then you execute all those things to give the first team the look that they're gonna have to face in the game. And then
that's why it would make me. And
then when you're cutting down nets, like you get to cut down some nets, you get to wear the jersey, you can touch the stroke, like that's all shared.
But that's what it would make me even. That's why it would make me excited, man, when I would see like guys who, whether it's however many days prep, like I'm guarding the Marcus Fosters or the Tyshawn's of this world for like 3 days, and they're guarding me before a game, right? Like that's why I would be even more excited when they would go off. I'm like, they know what's like, they were really locked in. Like, I can learn from that too. Like, I should be even more inspired from that. Like, they were really locked into this scout. Like, now what can I do better to make sure they're doing this every time? You know what I'm saying? Like, it would make me so excited. I would feel like when Marcus would go get 30 or Tyshawn would go get 30, like, I would feel like I did my job after. Like that, like, I was like, okay, like, I gave him a better look because he wasn't getting 30 on me yesterday, but like I gave him good enough look. You know, I'm joking.
He was prepared.
I gave him a good enough look. Like, so that's what made me so like that. That used to give me life. That used to make me hype.
Well, it's the same thing with like emulating a good scorer too. If like when you look at Kyrie, like Kyrie's guarding like Josh Hart, Keelan Martin. These are all leaguers now. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he's shutting their water off. So like that's all that stuff that he took in was film sessions and scout team prep. So you like the scout emulates that stuff to get your timing right, so you're ready in a game for all the moves they got. Like Tyshawn learning how to guard Miles Powell and Marcus Howard, like all their moves. Marcus Howard and Miles Powell will throw like 50 things at you in a game, trying to get to the free throw line, get their shots off.
More than that.
Yeah. So like think about how good Tyshawn was defensively last year. All that was based on his repetitions in practice and film sessions, of like knowing what's coming at him, knowing how to prepare for what's the counter move that they're going to pull on me to try to get a shot off or whatever. Because like the thing that goes into Tyshawn's that blows me away about Tyshawn. I don't think people understand. I mean, I no, they do, but they don't quite get how good he was defensively in terms of like
so good defensively.
Because the numbers are staggering.
So
like he was legit the best defender, the best perimeter defender in the country based on efficiency.
So good defensively.
But there were so many times, but those only show the end of possessions. You know what I'm saying? That metric. There were so many times where Marcus Howard or Miles Powell or like Kamar Baldwin, where they were like trying to get off on time,
they couldn't
get like they would like raise up and then have to like kick it out because he was like in there.
All I'm gonna tell, that doesn't
count for anything. Enough of that.
All I want to say, I want to speak to the listener of this podcast because all I want to say is, if anybody does not appreciate Tyshawn Alexander's defense to the degree of a defensive player of the year in the Big East,
yeah,
you should, because I can guarantee you, like anybody around the program who's ever played against him one-on-one, anything, will say he's one of the hardest guys to score on because he just has such a good gauge of like how basketball players move. He's just a hooper, man. Like he knows the game of basketball. He knows tendencies. He understands like what's comfortable offensively, and he does everything to make you uncomfortable, and he's very good at it. So like to think he wasn't – who won Defensive Player of the Year?
Romaro Gill.
Because to me it was him. And
Romaro Gill from Seton Hall, the guy who couldn't even stay on the floor against you guys. It's funny. I'm going to send you the tweet. I'm going to send you the tweet when we get off here because the Big East like sends out a tweet saying Romaro Gill Defensive Player of the Year, like when they announced it or whatever. And like the mentions and the quote tweets are just like just lighting it on fire, saying Tyshawn. Like no one congratulated Romaro Gill. I felt bad. I felt bad about it. I was like, oh man, this kid's probably like not reading all this stuff. He's like, he had nothing to do with Tyshawn being better than him or getting.
No, I remember the time. I remember the time it happened because I remember some of the numbers from your tweets about like Tyshawn's on-ball defense percentage, guys scoring against him. It was utterly ridiculous. But it's like, I feel like the only people who like knew that were guys he guarded. Like
I know
the only people who were like,
I think
everybody in the Big East from Tyshawn.
Miles Powell before like the NBA draft.
I think that's what we should have done. We should have went back last year and said to the Big East Player of the Year, who is the best defender? Like that's actually good logic. Sometimes I don't have great logic.
They asked him that before the NBA draft, and he said Najee Marshall. And I sent that to Ty, and Ty was just like,
"Oh no, that's just his. That has to be his boy or some shit." Then
definitely is.
Had some game where they just went
because
at it.
he lit Najee up. You know what I'm saying?
They have to just be friends. They probably both lit each other up.
Yeah,
and they were like, "Hey, bro, if anybody ever asks who was a great defender, just say me."
Yeah,
and we'll both like. Because
then we'll get drafted higher or whatever.
It'll work better for our draft stock. Like they were on that. They weren't actually like, oh, let's talk about how Tyshawn clamped the both of us.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't think Ty didn't get any league.
Tyshawn clamped Najee Marshall, Marcus Howard, and Miles Powell,
Sadiq Bey,
and 4 pros in the same year.
Yeah.
Like on a consistent nightly basis, practicing every day hard as hell like we practice, running every day like we like
Austin Reeves, Oklahoma, Remy Martin, Arizona State, all these dudes were all just like the shit right now. Like
he was just like, yeah, no problem. I got it.
Like Ty clamped.
I'm also gonna like get my averages and get buckets and clamp these dudes. No problem.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There were three unanimous first team All Big East dudes. It was Najee, or not Najee, but it was Sadiq Bey, Miles Powell, Marcus Howard, and Tyshawn wasn't one of the all like unanimous dudes. Like Ty was the player of the year in the league last year. Like he's easily the best two-way player in the league.
And this is why I'm bitter though. I'm bitter about the way our year ended, because if we finish that season and we go on and I'm obviously being biased here, but if we go on the Final Four run, we were going to go on. I'm not being biased. If you're listening to this podcast, you know we were on the Final Four. But
you're just calling it.
So the only way he was ever going to get that recognition, like the only way that team, like our team last year was going to get that recognition was after we made a Final Four run. Because there had been great Creighton teams. There had been Creighton teams as good as that team that like lost in the first round.
Yep.
Or at least that people thought. This is what people thought. But that have lost in the first round. So nothing actually mattered until we like did something in the NCAA tournament. And that's when they all would have been like, wow, Tyshawn, because he would have had, correct me if I'm wrong, or if you disagree, but he would have had a game in the NCAA tournament where he would have clamped like he was clamping all year long. And then everybody, then the narrative starts, and all the national people want to tune in now, and they're like, "Oh,
that's right," because
Tyshawn Alexander is such a great defender, and then from
Seth
that,
Davis.
they can go back and look up the history of games we had all last year that actually exists.
Yeah,
that we need to have like a national NCAA game for people to be like, "Oh, wow, he's that good." Like
Seth Davis, I think writes for. I can't remember who he writes for now, but he put out like his 5 best defenders in the Big East. He put it out like in late February, like mid-February or whatever, like around Valentine's Day. And
I was on it.
Yeah, and it was like, so best defenders in the Big East. He had like Najee, Quincy McKnight, Romaro Gill, Theo John. Who was the other one? I think Sadiq Bey was the other one. So like he listed 5 dudes from the Big East, and Tyshawn was not even like, he didn't even get like an honorable mention nod or whatever, like for the best. I'm just like,
that one I don't.
Dude, you can't be serious. Like Creighton's on national television every night, and Ty is just making dudes miserable. You're right. Like it would have taken an NCAA tournament, or one of those dudes saying like Ty is like killing me out here. I don't want to play against that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
But they wouldn't give him that love.
And like I don't think Theo John's a bad defender by any means or anything, but like if you're gonna say Theo John is a better defender than Tyshawn Alexander, you're just saying he's bigger than Tyshawn Alexander. That's all you're saying.
Yeah. Plus, how was Quincy? Like Quincy got. I mean, Marcus Zegarowski shot like.
See, this is my problem.
Like 85% against Quincy McKnight.
You want to know my problem though with the Quincy McKnight? Quincy McKnight just looks like a good defender, and that's why
he's like, because he got an attitude.
Because he is little. He has an attitude. He's skinny. He looks like he could slither in and steal the ball. He's a guard that like looks like he wants to pick up the whole court. Like coaches are, oh, he's capable of that. So no, like when was he the good defender? Like
Marcus hit like 10 threes on him last year. Was he 7? Was it Marcus 7 for 7 in the final game or whatever? I think he was like 7 for 7 from 3, and that was all on Quincy, like all of it, like in his eye every time.
That's all I'm saying.
So it's like that dude's not clamping. That dude's not clamping anybody. Yeah.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, Ty didn't get the love he deserved.
Ty didn't get the love he deserved last season.
And then he had to go pro, which was like, it was sad because it's like he has to go because he's ready. And
because of all the reasons we're talking about right now. Like he was a pro for everything we're talking about right now, but just people just didn't. The only people. I mean, I'm glad the right people knew, because the people in the NBA knew. Like everybody amongst the league knew. We knew. But I'm just mad more people didn't know across the country.
Yeah, because he deserved the love.
He was one of the best players in the country when he was doing his thing. And I really don't think he got the recognition.
Yeah. And he didn't get I don't think he got like the recognition for being a dog either, but like he was. Like he had like he had a killer instinct to him. Like you don't like hit a 3 in Miles Powell's eye and then like slow walk down the court unless you're an absolute killer.
No,
because you're worried about like, oh god, they're gonna come back at me. What am I gonna do? I gotta focus. Like he hit that 3 and he didn't have a care in the world left. He's like, that's game. That's game.
He'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna hit another one. I'm about to hit another one.
He did. He came down and hit one on Mamu too. He was like,
that's the one I thought. I'm glad. We're on the same page. That was the one.
He went super cold blooded. He's like, give me everyone on that roster. I'm gonna bust a 3 in their eye.
No, that was when he had his takeover was on at that point.
Him and Marcus went like superhuman the last like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
it was just like, oh, dude, this is insane.
That was so fun.
Yeah. You got to be a killer to do that. You can't just be like some. You can't just have a. You don't
regular
have. You can't not have a dog.
Regular hoopers don't. Regular hoopers don't do that.
Yeah. No, he was like, give me everyone on the roster. I'm busting their ass one by one. Let's go. Like that's basically what happened. You're just like, okay, this dude's something serious right here. That's why coaches should turn their ballots in after the season. Coaches don't like all the coaches like voted before the season was over, and like that's why Ty didn't get shit. And it's like, dude,
but that's my point to my whole thing. I was like, he was only ever going to get the recognition he deserved because of the way the voting is done, and for that and whatnot. Like he was only going to get it once we got to the tourney because he was going to get to the tourney. People were going to look at him and be like, wait, who is this 6'5", 6'6", like point guard kind of shooter, like NBA body built? And then they were like, wait, and he's actually killing, and he's that good of a defender. Wait a minute. Like, you're like, yeah, no, like we've been telling you this from
we've been saying Omaha.
You guys just don't listen because we're in the middle of Omaha, I guess. Like, I don't know what you like. He's been here for a little while now too. Like,
we've been rehashing old stuff though. Creighton's got Seton Hall next though. What do you think about that?
Seton Hall next on the schedule. I wish I could go.
I know.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna see what I can do.
Back in Omaha playing DJ again. Like, are they gonna finish it or whatever? Finish this crap.
Yeah, no. I think it'll be a good game. I think he had a really good last game. He's playing well for them now. I think Mamu for Seton Hall.
It's like I think it's kind of a tough matchup now because I don't really know.
I think it's a tough matchup.
I mean, you can probably exploit him defensively. It's probably tough for Mamu as it is for you guys or for Creighton. But like, I don't know how. I can't even think right now how Creighton would start to defend him. Like, it's probably going to take a good scheme to figure it out.
Yeah. I think
they're not like they were last year. You know what I mean? Their best offensive players are bigger. They're like, Roden and Mamu and stuff like that. Like,
it'll be by committee. I think Creighton's big focus, and I know it's going to be a focus within their film sessions and all that, is they just can't. I think there's a possibility they win that game if Mamu even does have like a crazy good game, but I think it's about limiting all the other guys and making sure nobody else like really goes off like that. Like Mamu, obviously they're gonna have a scheme for him and do everything. Maybe throw a couple guys at him in the post or something. I don't know, but I think it's everyone else who you can't let get comfortable and get going. Like if Roden, you don't want Roden to come into Omaha and have like a 20-7 game. Like that's not going to go well for anybody. I think it's going to, and you also don't want like any of the point, like you don't want any of their little guards, especially like just some of the bench guys to come in and have any type of energy. So you want, like, it's really just going to be about limiting everyone else and making sure they can keep the pace. I think that's my early thoughts.
For sure. Hey, time out real quick. Yeah, so I want to get into like, dude, I don't know what you think because like players probably don't sweat this stuff because you guys try to control what you can control or whatever, but dude, the officiating is bad this year, man. Like,
it is bad.
Marcus is getting like a raw whistle, in my opinion.
I agree.
So, okay, so just for context before we start bitching, so everybody doesn't think we're just being a bunch of like whiny ass homers. I went and like,
but I think a lot of people see it now too, man. It's kind of hard not to.
Yeah, I hope so.
In my
but just for context,
again,
just for context until people think.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just so we can like squash that quick. Here's the like the preseason all-conference team in the Big East, and this is their possessions, like the percentage of possessions that have ended in free throws, basically. Like, so it's like, it's not just shooting fouls. It's not just like total, like where you're going or whatever. It's like free throws. So if your team's in the bonus and you have the ball, which Marcus does a lot, or if you're drawing shooting fouls or whatever it is, it's all encompassing. So this is the percentage of possessions for the all-conference team, preseason all-conference team that have ended in free throws. So James Bouknight leads the league at 20.4. Leads this group at 20.4%. So over a fifth of his possessions end with him going to the freaking free throw line, and everybody's like wondering why he averages 25 a game. It's like, well, okay, that's probably why. If a fifth of his possessions are going there, he probably has like 25 to 30 a game, right?
Yep.
So that's a lot of buckets. That's a lot of points right there.
Mm-hmm.
Sandro Mamukelashvili, 18.4%. So he's about a fifth of his possessions end at the free throw line. Nate Watson, 18%. He's at 17.7. Bryce Enzi is at 15.8. And I don't even think he should be on the all-preseason. Wow. David Duke, 14.5%. That makes sense. He's a scorer. Colin Gillespie, 13.3%. So that's an important one.
That's a very
Gillespie and Marcus are basically the same player, okay? So
that's where I was
that number. Colin Gillespie, 13.3%. Paul Scruggs, 11.6. Jeremiah Robinson Earl, 11.2. DJ Carton, 10.7. Justin Moore, 10.6. Bryce Aiken, 9.8 or 9.1. Charlie Moore, 6.3. And Marcus Zegarowski,
no,
6.3%.
The one that so the two, I will say the two stats in that kill me, are if you think about, and I don't know the exact numbers, but I knew from early on within the sample of like the first 5 games, Marcus and Colin Gillespie's usage is about the same. Like the amount of ball is in their hands, it's about the same. The fact, I'm not saying and I know a lot of people have agreed with this, especially on Twitter, like as you tweeted that out, like they were like, look, we're not even saying here that Marcus should be at the top of this list.
No, that's not. Yeah,
but for him not to be not just like equivalent with Colin Gillespie,
right,
is absurd to me.
Yeah,
it's actually absurd.
Colin Gillespie is getting to the free throw line twice as much as Marcus based on percentage of possessions, and James Bouknight is getting into the free throw line 3 times as much. It's like
3 times as much.
Like Marcus is that dude. He's supposed to be going there too.
Doesn't make sense.
Because the other one is like it's not like he's only shooting from 30 feet away. He's going in there.
And then the other one on that list is Bryce Aiken, who plays half the amount like that Marcus plays.
Yeah.
And has a higher percentage of getting. Yeah. And I'm like, I know Marcus isn't like, he's not throwing himself in, like, he's not the person trying to get fouls in there. I know some dudes try, like it is a skill. Like getting fouled is a skill. I get that.
Yeah.
That's not part of Marcus's game. Like I don't think it's part of like most of the dudes on the list. I'm not accusing them of anything, but I just think it's like a little weird for the way he plays and the way, like in comparison to some of the other guys play, for him to be that low.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I mean, and I just see like so many. There's 2 instances that pop up in my head right now that like went against CU. And it's like, how is he? I mean, the whole entire Connecticut game, RJ Cole, I love that dude. He's super skilled. I think he's like a big time reason UConn's going to be good. Mm-hmm. But he should have fouled out in like the first 5 minutes of that game. Like he's just riding Marcus's hip, like grabbing jersey. Like, of course, everybody's like, why is Marcus struggling so much? It's like, because this dude's like literally tied to him, and the refs won't call anything.
Yeah,
and then you look at you got hip checked on 3 against Xavier, nothing happened. Like, what are you guys watching?
Like it hasn't been consistent in any form. Like the way, and I mean that especially for Marcus. Like, not only are the refs inconsistent in a lot of the Creighton games, and I do believe that, but like I think also the way refs like call games for Marcus is very, like they start calling it one way and then they change. Like they'll let a dude ride his hip for the beginning, and then they'll like be like, okay, like somewhere like we'll let it for a little bit, but then we'll call a couple fouls and then we'll let it happen again. I'm like, I don't really. There's never I never see consistently, especially because like as someone, he's a primary ball handler. Like he has the ball in his hands a lot. I don't see a lot of like, I don't know. I've seen tournaments we've played in, even with Marcus, have had more consistency than league play, just because it's like some refs will let guards be physical against him and he finds a way to have success against that. And then some guys will like not be allowed to, and then he's really in his wheelhouse and he can figure it out. But like, I think even different refs are on different pages sometimes.
Probably. Like,
so I don't know.
I
think we just need to, and I hope people just pay attention to it. Like as you're watching these games, like
I'm on it.
Some of this stuff.
I'm at the point now where I'm just like, I don't know how Mac's doing financially or whatever. Like, the pandemic was a rough year, and maybe he's got some expensive stuff. I got more expensive.
Oh, you're ready to bribe?
No,
You're already
if he's doing all right, I think he should eat the fine and like put the
take a little tea.
Yeah, but it's time to put the officiating on blast. If like Marcus doesn't get 10 free throws in the next 2 games, it's time to speak up. Like, because that's points that are being taken away right now, as far as I'm concerned. Like Ty was averaging 4.4 free throws per game, attempts per game last year. What's Marcus at?
Ty was way more dramatic than Marcus too. I think that's Marcus's thing. Wait, maybe
Marcus is at 2.2 this year. 2.2.
Maybe we just
maybe the fucking line once a game.
Maybe we need to get him acting classes. Like Marcus is a very serious guy, you know, like he's very, very serious, especially like he takes basketball very serious, right?
I just think it's the Creighton thing. I think they just think you guys are like soft, so like everybody doesn't want to call shit on you. Because Marcus
changing that.
Marcus Foster's junior year, he was at 9.5%. And then his senior year was at 8.2%. So like he didn't get to the line ever.
Oh no, but that makes sense.
For as good a scorer as he was.
Okay. No. Okay. Here's where I will weigh in on that though. So Marcus Foster, the reason he couldn't, and I've noted this is a personal thing too. The reason Marcus could never get fouls is like similar to the reason I couldn't get fouls. Marcus was like undersized for his position. Like Marcus was a 6'2" stud shooting guard, like combo guard. But he wasn't a point guard. Like he was not a point guard. Like he was really good at that. So like when he was going to the basket and when he was like ever in a physical situation, he was always trying to finesse like without the contact because he was that athletic one, Marcus Foster, and then also was like knew like I don't know. He also knew he wasn't like the ball handler like that Marcus Zegarowski is. So he was like, I need to figure out what I can get off here and all that. I understood some of the times why they didn't give him fouls.
Really?
That would make sense. Yes.
Okay.
Because it was, and especially like as an undersized guy with his athletic ability, like they've seen him dunk, like you've seen Marcus Foster dunk on people.
Yeah.
So sometimes like in a crowd of people, you'd be like, oh, he was shying away from contact only because you've seen him dunk on people. You're like, okay.
Right.
Okay. Marcus though, I have no justification for that because it's like, it's not like he's really athletic, like finish wise, but it's not like you've seen him overpower, like he's this crazy strength when he's in air like that, where it's like, oh, we don't need to give him that foul because like he can operate. It's the same way I felt like people didn't give LeBron fouls for a while, where it was like, because he's so big and strong, we feel like we don't have to give him a foul when it's obviously a clear foul. Like people thought that way about people would probably have thought that way about Marcus, is my point. Marcus Foster, because they're like, oh, he's such this athlete, like we don't need to call it like. But for Marcus, I'm like, what is the explanation? Where is it?
I don't get
because you've seen him finish like. It's not like he's this crazy athletic finisher where he's dunking on people. Like he's done like the and ones and like you've seen how that works out. So why are you not calling it like now? Oh, because he's an All-American or he's a preseason All-American. Oh,
he's good enough. He's good enough on his own.
Now he's preseason player of the year. Yeah. We're gonna make him earn it more. Like what?
Yeah. No, it's time for.
Oh, he's the All-American. Let's like make him show it. Show it what against 2 fouls? Like
I know. That's what I mean. It's not even right. Like, make him defend that. Like, you can't just, like – he's got expectations to live up to, and everybody's like, why isn't he putting up more numbers? And it's like, because everybody's beating the shit out of him, and he can't get him.
It's like –
what are you supposed to do? Like, when you literally change the rules to stop the dude, like –
you literally changed the way we officiated him, changed the rule. Yeah. Like, come on. If you're going to change the rules against somebody, then obviously there's going to be a tail off somewhere. Like
we need to go back and like make a super cut of like all the non-whistles he's gotten this year. And it's like just egregious contact. We're like, what the hell is that?
We'll get into that.
For sure. You know who was balling out? You know who took a beating and balled out though? Justin Fields.
Sure did.
Justin Fields, like he got some whistles. And he didn't, and he took that beating, and then he came out and like dropped bombs all over the place.
He dropped bombs.
Drop bombs. Dude, I've never seen a deep ball just like so damn accurate.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. He dropped like, yeah. I just don't know. There's not many games, man, and I say it like, because for me, it's like I think back to the very few games like Randy Moss and Brady connected like Justin Fields did with some of his receivers in that game. Like he was throwing like perfect bombs, like that were like, how was he that open? How did he fit that in that window? Like you were like, wow, that's like a play you call on Madden and it doesn't work.
Right. Because they got that covered. Receivers were like, he was like throwing receivers open through like double coverage. They like safety over the top, corner.
No, he was balling.
I hope, like, I'm kind of mad because I think he got beat up pretty good in that game, and I don't know if he's gonna like recover in time for Bama. So like,
oh no, adrenaline, he'll be all right.
Adrenaline carries over a week.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's not gonna carry enough to beat. I don't think it's enough to beat Bama, but hey. I think I think you're right though that Ohio State gave, like, if Ohio State had like if they had 100% to just beat Clemson, they gave 100%, and so they ain't got nothing in the tank left to get
it felt like that was like their crowning achievement, was like beat Clemson's ass.
But I'm glad they did. And especially because like for Dabo to come out and try to say what he said about them, like. You can't like it's not like it's basketball or we're playing golf here where it's like a mental game, the whole thing. Like you just told dudes who you're gonna play in a week that you think they're like, what do you say, ranked 11? So you think they're
put them 11.
That many?
He ranked them 11.
So that's what I'm saying. So I'm like, oh, so you really thought they were 6 seeds, like worse than they actually were? Like you can't let football dudes know that. You can't let like those dudes. I was like, for them to like, for him to say that, it was dumb. He dug his own grave because it's like, now you're giving these dudes a week to think about the fact that there's just some big 300-pound linemen on both sides of the ball that now think you, Dabo Swinney, and the guy in front of them lined up like they're gonna see every day is like thinks they're not good enough. In a contact sport where you get to smash their face in for possession, like no.
You know what?
You don't like that fire, Dabo.
You know what what pissed me off is if like, granted, if I'm at Clemson, I probably think pretty highly of Dabo and like the situation, whatever. But if he said something like that, like popped off like that right before we're about to play this team, like you're making me go out there and cash the check that you wrote. You know what I'm saying? Like you're about to. Like that's my body that's got to go through that.
Especially,
like Ohio State's coming out here and trying to bust my ass because you talk crap. Like why? Like you should be in this uniform right now, getting routed like 60 yards with Justin Fields.
Because I think it's one thing if they ask him in a team setting, or even if they ask one of the players, they say to one of the players, they say, "Oh, how do you feel about like being ranked 11th?" And one of the players is like, or I'm sorry. If they ask one of the Clemson players, like, how do you feel about them being ranked like 11th and you're playing them? And they're like, man, I don't think they're that good. Like, we can kill them. Like, we gonna get them, right?
Yeah.
That's one thing. That's one player. But for the coach who has all this, like, stature, I guess, to his name and has all this, right? And as a coach, what do we know? And, like, what do we train in media, like, even at, like, a school like Creighton? It's like, you respect the opponent and you say everything, the right things until after games and after you win.
You talk while you're playing.
You
let them know while it's happening. You don't let them know before. Right.
And I'm not as successful as Dabo is in my respective field, but all I'm saying is that why? What inclines you to say? I want to know. I wish I could ask him. I want to know, like, what made you decide, okay, now is the moment. A week before, this is when I'm gonna decide to be a little cocky. Like if you wait a month to get a little cocky, like you could have another national championship. Like,
right. Yeah. Because that's the thing. Ohio State was already mad about last year. So like you were already basically like holding a hornet's nest, and you were like. So
yeah, there had to be. I think the point we're getting at is there was something else we don't know. was another part to it we don't know.
Okay. But, like, you even saw Tom Rinaldi ask Justin Fields, like, the last question he asked him was, like, do you guys think you're the 11th ranked team or whatever? And Justin, like, looked down at the ground, and you could see all the nonsense he wanted to spit right there. Like, he's like, where's the response I want to let out on national television right now? He's like, and then he just, like, looks up with, like, a little smile on his face. He's like, he's doing, like, the Bane thing where he's, like, holding his jersey all badass. Like, he's like, yeah, I just destroyed, like, basically Clemson's whole university. I just, like, tore it up and bombed it. He's, like, holding his jersey all badass, like, and he's just like, I'm not even going to touch that. He just smiles. And it's like, that dude, he already said everything. 6 touchdowns, like 500 yards. Like, he said it all already. Like, he doesn't even say anymore. 49-28. Like,
that's why it's like the best thing you can do is the play. Because what do we talk? Like, we're talking, Justin Fields, man, balled out. Hopefully we can. What would be worse if, like, Clemson was, like, getting that work? And Clemson's, like, getting that work, and and Justin's, like, not saying anything. Would that scare them more? Yeah. If he, like, you probably expect them to be, like, on a roll and start talking. That's but, like, what if he just, like, kept it cool the whole time? He just, like, even scarier. Just tosses a 60-yard touchdown and, like, definitely scarier. No, it's even scarier because it's like after Justin Fields, like, torches you, you want him to let it out because you want him to be like, I told you. Like, bump y'all not. You want that because you're like, okay, like, he proved this point. He proved this point, right? But if he's silent after and he's like, yep, this is what I do, you like, oh, shit. Like, I think he really took this personal. Like, he was at no point trying to let it out. Like, he really felt this way. Because I think in some way, if he had talked, like, if he had let Clemson know that he heard what they said and this is why it's happening, I think they could have taken that as, like, a win. Like, okay, we got under his skin. Like, we drew blood, basically. We pissed him off. But if he's dropping bombs and not saying anything, like, he's not rubbing it in our faces, that's probably more demoralizing because you're like, why does this dude want to kill me and not even talk about it? Like, he's just going to come out here and, like, destroy my whole reason for living and then not even address the fact that he's destroying my whole reason for living. Like, that's cold-blooded. It's cold-blooded. Yeah, I would. So I bet if he wasn't talking, like, that's even worse than if he had let him know. Like every time he throws a bomb, he just walks by a defensive end and say, 11. So you're saying you would take him over Trevor Lawrence, first overall pick? Dude, I mean, I would. I kind of was like, that performance is, like, hard to ignore. But it's also hard to ignore. Like, he's done it at a high level in those big games, like, the whole time. Like, because he was really good last year against Clemson, even though they didn't get though they got screwed. But, like, I mean, I just don't know why Trevor's been like consensus number one. I mean, like, I don't know why. We've had this conversation, and it's only because, like, Justin Fields has, I think the first point we need to bring up is Justin Fields has not gotten the recognition he's deserved ever. Whether it was 41, he had 41 touchdowns and 3 picks last year. That's what I'm saying. I mean, so whether it's last year or this year, he's never gotten. I think this is great because this is the performance I think that, like, has at least made everyone aware of the fact of the caliber player he is. Because I think before I definitely thought he was in the conversation of a guy like a Kyler or like a Baker. Like, I was like, this is like a Heisman type guy. Like, and no one ever was, I guess, willing to give him that credit. And whether it's because of the fact that Trevor Lawrence is what everyone's tried to, with the media and everyone's tried to make Trevor Lawrence out to be, whether that has an effect on it, I don't know. But I do know that Trevor Lawrence has dominated this first pick conversation ever since he just beat Bama. And it's just because he beat Bama those years back, right? And so I think we've never even just, like, let the conversation get to the point where it's like, no, I think Justin Fields actually might be better. Right. And if we do, I'm here to argue that now. Like, I'm like, okay, now we can talk about it. So, like, what if, like, Urban Meyer gets goes to coach the Jags? Yeah. Jags, yeah. No, does he basically throw a wrench in that whole, does he, like, pull the pin and throw the grenade down the hatch? Like, I hope so. And draft Justin Fields, like, and turn Jacksonville into Ohio State. I'm down.
I want it to happen. I want it to happen because so many people are like
what is it?
hell bent on Trevor being the number one pick. Yeah. I want it to happen. I think Justin's better than him. I think Justin's gonna be better than him. Maybe because I think Trevor's like been pro ready for a long time, and is he gonna get better? I don't think people are like understanding that part. Is he gonna get better, or is he already like?
I agree because I look at Justin Fields and I'm like, what can he add to his game? Because
that's what I'm saying.
I watched him throw bombs and I'm like, oh no, he could be a really good runner. Like he could add the Russell Wilson shit to
He can be a good runner. He can make better. He can survey the pocket. He can make better reads. Progressions better.
He can learn an NFL offense. Like he maybe can be like a slide guy and not a bounce guy. Like he can run. Like maybe like even Kyler ran this year. Like I think he could do that.
Because Justin Fields is in his second. He's in his second year as a starter, basically.
Yeah.
That's what people don't realize either. Like he's in his second year as a starter, and it's not even a full season. So he's had like 20-something starts like in college,
which is why
that's what he just did.
Which is why I try to compare him to Kyler a lot of the time, just because I was like, we saw Kyler have so much success just so early because like where Kyler had the success in Oklahoma and then obviously gets drafted and now he has D-Hop, like he was able to like now we're like okay like good quarterback like. Imagine if you give Justin Fields that same progression. Give Justin Fields D-Hop. Like, Jesus. Like, I actually know what the point is. What do you think? If I said to you right now, what's more dangerous? Like, so, and I'm saying D-Hop's the best receiver in the league here.
Yeah.
But do you think Justin Fields and D-Hop or do you think Trevor Lawrence and D-Hop? Like, what are you like more afraid of if you're Well, I know it's just a two-player out of a huge game, but I'm like,
yeah. Well, why is D-Hop in the equation? I'm confused.
I'm just like, I think Justin Fields unlocks way more of an NFL offense. Than
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. So, like, if you gave him like,
I think he makes an NFL
elite
offense.
If you gave like him an elite playmaker, is he better than? Okay. Yeah, I think so.
I think the only.
I think so.
I think most people would agree. I think the only argument that anyone makes is that you say, oh no, but Trevor Lawrence is marginally better at throwing the football than Justin Fields. And I don't agree with that anymore after yesterday. Right. I don't know.
I don't know. I just think Justin's ceiling is higher.
And I think that's what
so I think you're drafting Trevor because you see that the floor is really low. You know what I mean? Like he's pretty consistent, he's pretty accurate, he's athletic, he can run. So he's got like a dual threat. He's a dual threat element. He's a great
basic white quarterback. He's
the next Tom Brady, basically.
He's like Chad Henne, maybe. Yeah, but okay, like
Chad. Why'd you say Chad Henne? Because he's not gonna be good or whatever. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying, like I've seen like this mold of like a 6'7", 6'6" white quarterback who had a good college career, like and
Tom Brady
was projected to be this player, like.
Well, I mean,
no, but Tom Brady was actually not projected to have like any type of career. Tom Brady was,
he's a pretty boy.
And this is why I like Tom Brady better, though. Like I like Tom Brady better than a lot of these guys because Tom Brady was like projected to be a great backup. Tom Brady was like what everyone think. I mean,
that's true.
He was even less. Tom Brady was less than what people think. Like Ian Book, people thought less of Tom Brady coming out of college than they think Ian Book now, or even Mac Jones now. Like,
are you trying to say those guys are going to be better than Trevor, or what are you doing?
No, all I'm saying they could. All I'm saying is I think, and I could be. This is hot take here.
But I mean, I'm just going to give you a shovel if you want to dig.
I'm going to dig it. So, all I'm saying is I like when I look at the Trevor Lawrences of this world, I'm like, what's the difference between him and Ian Book like right now as an NFL quarterback to me?
I mean, just like the talent probably.
Yeah, but I just think they're lumped into that same.
I mean, I just don't think Book
I just think their ceiling is the same, like as an NFL quarterback.
I don't think Book has shown like the ability to push the ball like past 10 yards, so that's a concern for me.
Okay, now I completely disagree. I definitely, and especially.
I mean, he's been thrown to a bunch of tight ends his whole career. Like I don't.
Can he not get away with that going to the NFL and playing in an offense like in New England? Like,
I don't know. I don't know how accurate his deep ball is. Like, can he hit like Devontae Smith?
How many deep balls?
Like, if he let's say he plays with Devontae Smith, like, can he throw a ball as far as he can run? Like, Devontae's really fast, so you better get that ball down there quick because he might be in the end zone before you get it there.
Yeah, but if he has some, like, I'm not saying he's this
Devontae
is why,
Smith
this is why I'm not saying no, but this is why I'm not saying Ian Book or Trevor Lawrence is like a first round pick like that, because I'm like, there's so many other things I need to have in place before I actually say I trust him to throw that deep ball.
So you don't want to use a top pick on a quarterback because you're one of those dudes.
Nope, I would.
You want to build the pieces around him.
I would do Justin Fields.
Okay.
I would do Justin Fields
because of the ceiling or whatever.
But I've just seen this story. I think I've just seen the story. The Trevor Lawrence. I've seen that story that Josh Rosen was similar to that story. Like, they're all like, I don't know. I just see some of these guys, too many similarities and not enough like actual it factor for me.
I just want, I want Devontae Smith to go number one because that dude's just the fastest human being I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
I mean,
he's ridiculous.
Maybe Notre Dame doesn't have quite the speed too, so it wasn't a fair fight.
But
he was catching the ball.
Some of the man, cornerbacks are some of the best athletes just like on the planet.
Okay.
And I know just because like to be a D back in any of those conferences, it's like your competition for that. Like to be wired to guard these dudes like that. I just watch him and I'm like, he's torching dudes who I'm like, these are good athletes. Like I'm not saying they're the best at their position or anything. No. I'm just like, they're good athletes. So I know they're fast people too. And he is faster than them.
It's insane. I've never seen someone move like that.
Missing. In pads too.
Yeah.
In pads.
You know who it kind of reminds me of? Remember DeAnthony Thomas at Oregon?
Yep.
That dude could go like 0 to 60 in Roadrunner speed.
He could. Yeah, no, he could get up.
But Devontae feels. I think Devontae.
Oh, actually, I'll throw you a plug. You remember? He's like the Rogers brothers at Oregon State.
Okay. Yeah.
That was like, I thought of like that, like just the movement of the feet, how quick that was.
Yeah. I mean, it's just
like how do
his like acceleration to Egon speed basically. It doesn't take much. That's what I mean. Is like
how I wish I had that. I wish I could do that.
There's one tweet I think I saw where it was like a screenshot of he caught a ball like out of the backfield or whatever, and the corner he was like even with the corner. All right. Mm-hmm. And then in the next screenshot, he's like the corner. You can see the back of the corner's jersey. And then the next one, he's like in the end zone, like looking back like this, like he's just like
crazy.
That's not
human. He actually has had. I'm looking this up after we get off the pod now. Like the amount of touchdowns he has, where he's burnt the defense and like walked into the end zone backwards or like scrolled it, like or he's like accelerated and then like his last 3 steps like we're walking. I'm looking this up after because it's like it's probably the most in the country.
He's
unless somebody at Bama got him, but like I don't know.
It's crazy. I was mad because I'm watching the Notre Dame game and I'm like, oh man, the Texans probably like are in a spot that they weren't totally terrible, but they were bad. I was like, well, they could probably take that dude and get Deshaun like a nice ass weapon. And then I like looked up the mock draft because I was just like checked out on this season. I didn't even care because I knew they were bad. And I was like, oh damn it, Bob traded away the pick. Like they fired him too late. Yeah. He did so much like traded D-Hop. Yeah. Traded all those picks away, and it's like now they just suck and they can't get better. It's like
he came in the house, fucked up all the fine china and left. Like he
smashed it all and didn't even eat. He just
smashed it all, and then he was actually like, and even on the way out, he took a couple plates with him. He was like, "Yeah, so you can't have."
I'm just gonna sell these. I'm gonna sell these.
I'm gonna sell these actually. And he actually gave some. He gave. They actually trade. What he did was he came in the house. He smashed like 75% of the china, and then gave 25% of it out to like the neighbors. You're like,
why would you? Yeah, what's your problem?
You were like, wait, just smash all of it. Don't give it away.
No, he gave some of it away. Yeah,
he gave some of it away.
It makes me mad too because for the Texans to like come back up, like They probably have to like trade JJ or Deshaun or something because they can't. Like
Actually,
trading the picks with those dudes who can't like build off of it.
Let's do something. Here's what we should do. Let's talk JJ to New England because he would thrive here. So, and I've been harping on this forever.
Who do you have? What am I supposed to take from you?
You can take Stephon Gilmore and anybody else you want. Like,
didn't Stephon Gilmore like tear his ACL? I thought we just talked about that.
Yeah, but
I don't want that. Why do I want that?
But once he's healthy again, you have an elite corner, and I couldn't name a cornerback.
I couldn't name a cornerback. It doesn't work like that. That's those days. Those days are.
You can stop.
That's where they're at. Back there.
Just chill. Let me finish. You can have Stephon Gilmore.
I don't want
anybody else you want.
No.
Any pick you want. You could even have Julian Edelman. I don't care.
Don't want that dude either. What are you doing?
That's all we have.
Dude,
I don't have much to offer you.
I don't want
you want N'Keal Harry? Do you want what do you want? Like I don't have any.
The only reason I would want like N'Keal Harry is because of Deshaun. Like if I get to keep Deshaun, I'll Otherwise
that's great. I'm so happy you felt that way because this even what you just felt there for a cyber second in your brain, I felt that for a full day after the first game of the season, and Cam ran the ball too much anyway. And I was like, dude, once he gets on the same page as N'Keal Harry, we're going to be good. We didn't even make the playoffs, Matt.
Yeah, I know. It was kind of interesting, too, because
I honestly feel like it's the first year. No, I really feel like this is the first year of my life that they're bad. Mm-hmm. I feel like this is the first year of my life that they're just awful.
It's probably true, right? How old are you?
I mean, too old now because they're bad. And I miss when I was younger and they were really good every day.
I love it because the Brady haters saw Cam have a good first game or whatever. And they were like, Belichick can win with anybody. It's not Brady sucks.
Oh, no. Yeah.
And then now they're not even going to make the playoffs and Cam's getting cut. And it's
week 3 after the Seattle game, I was one of those people.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why I was like, hold up. Just wait.
I was definitely one of those people.
Yeah.
But I'm still not done saying that.
Because Brady got the Bucks to the playoffs. Brady got the Bucks to the playoffs and Bill didn't make it. So that debate is done. Brady's the GOAT.
Is it though?
Yes.
8 opt-outs.
Yeah.
Eight opt-outs. Stop.
None.
Stop right now. If you want to tell me the Patriots wouldn't have made the playoffs without 8 opt-outs in a COVID season,
are you going to make the playoffs? Cam Newton
didn't get. Yes. I don't even know who our quarterback is going to be, but yes, we're going to make the playoffs.
That seems problematic.
What do you mean?
Not to know who your quarterback is.
I don't care.
Are you going to trade for Sam Darnold? What are you going to do?
I don't. If it's Cam, we're making the playoffs. Fact.
It's not going to be Cam.
Okay. Well, I don't care who it is, but we're making the playoffs.
Feel like it needs to. You gotta. I mean, before I can agree with you or disagree with you, I gotta know who that person is.
See now,
you can't just bring in a bum and then be like, all right, here comes ring number. How many rings you guys won? 6? What is it?
Okay, I will say. Actually, I should say that then. I think I'm getting just.
Well, you already said it. It's too late.
Yeah, but no, we're gonna make the. I can't. Okay, I'll edit my tape.
No, I own the copy. I edit it.
That's fine, but I can still go back and edit here.
In fact, that's all I'm gonna release of episode 3 is just you talking mad crazy.
This is gonna be the end. This is gonna be the end right now.
Start to finish is just you being absolutely out.
Well, my take is with a good quarterback and without 8 defensive opt-outs, we would have made the playoffs this year. We would have been better than the Bills.
I'm cutting that.
All those guys.
No,
come on. If all those guys are back this year, we have a real defense to hang our hats on. We have actual something to that if Cam only puts up, if early in the season Cam's like, okay, cool, all I need to do is put up and score at least 20, 24 a game, and the defense will hold, and I can get 10 wins from that.
Yeah,
definitely would have happened. But
no, that's too
defense
reasonable.
Couldn't hold anybody.
I'm cutting that part out because you sound reasonable. So I want you just to sound crazy. Just cutting that part
Come on.
That one makes sense. So I get what you're trying to, you're trying to be sensible about
and
it,
this
but
is
I'm
why
not
I'm
having
upset.
that.
All right, now I have to give my 2 cents too, because this is why I'm upset. I'm actually upset that New England's not going to bring him back, and I think that's really, really unfair to Cam because I think you brought him in this year when you had no other options left. Like Cam was like, we were gonna ride our season on Jared Stidham, like until we realized like nobody else wanted Cam and we could do it for such little money. We were like, oh shit, like we have so many opt-outs and we weren't gonna be good this year anyway. Like maybe he'll make us good. Like I really don't think there was ever a point before they signed Cam. They were like, oh, we're gonna be good, and like I wasn't saying shit about the Patriots before they signed Cam. Like, and so like do you sit here and tell me that if you're Robert Kraft, before you signed Cam Newton, you were like, yeah, we're gonna win this division?
I mean, I don't know what Robert Kraft thought.
Then as a football expert, like what would you have? Would you have thought that they were like, oh yeah, no, we're out to win this division this year with Jarrett Stidham? Really? I don't think that was the case. I think it just happened. Cam fell on their lap and they're like, oh wait, we now have a chance to be good again. And then we realized that COVID was so real and that we had 8 defensive opt-outs, and unless Cam runs for 250 yards a game, that wasn't happening. So here we are.
Yeah, I'm just trying to hit up your mention and see what you thought. Trying to see if there's like some nonsense.
No, you can't come through. You can't go back because I tweeted at this. You want to know my worst tweet?
Okay, here's a good one.
Do you have the Drew Lock one?
This is a good one.
The Drew Lock one?
Yeah, I got the Drew Lock one. This is a good one.
Good.
So this is October 18th.
Yeah, but that's after he had COVID.
No, I know.
That's after he had COVID. That's not my fault.
Shit, they got blown up too. Okay, so here I want to read the Jordan tweet first of all, and then it got quote tweeted. Pretty funny. So Jordan Scurry on October 18th, 2020 said,
"Oh God,"
and I quote, "Let's take today to remember the Broncos could have signed Cam Newton before the Patriots did, but someone in the organization said, nah, it's okay. We have Drew Lock," and it's followed by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I know.
Cry laughing emojis. 5. Okay. So Jordan's feeling it, right? Jordan's feeling himself right there. That's at 9 in the morning on October 18th. So
I was ready.
He woke up first thing, and he was still in PJs right there, like he was in whatever, Yeah.
I went down and I put NFL Live on.
He probably hadn't even been in the shower yet, and he was just like, "Here's what I'm gonna start a fight right here." And then I don't know who. Some beautiful hero, Ronnie Wormers.
That's my roommate.
Okay.
my junior year.
Quote tweeted it that afternoon and said, "This isn't aging well." What happened that day where that didn't age well? Like what happened the rest of the day? Was 10/18 a Sunday?
Yeah, Drew Lock and Denver Broncos.
Was it a Sunday? It was a Sunday. So you talked some shit at 9 a.m. on a Sunday, probably before church.
This is
and then some dude hit you up. Now I gotta go back and look.
First of all, Matt, fuck you, because you're the reason I don't tweet on Sundays anymore, because everyone wants to hit up my mentions and be like, Jordan had a bad take. You know what, guys? Sometimes I'm fucking wrong.
Hold up, this gets so much better.
I hate you.
They played the Broncos that day.
I know. You didn't let me finish.
They lost 18-12.
Cam Newton got benched, Matt.
Cam went 17 of 25 for 157 and 2 picks. Oh my God! And he had 2 fumbles. And he had 2 fumbles.
That was first of all. That was after.
That's thank you, man. That's the best. 2021 is off to such a good start because of this moment right here.
Hey! First of all, that was because Cam had just come off Corona. He didn't practice for 2 weeks.
Okay, but you talked. Why'd you talk? Why'd you Dabo that?
Because I didn't understand all that.
You broke your own rule. You went all Dabo on a football team, and
yeah, but I can do that. I'm not on the Patriots. Like, I should be the person talking this shit. Like, I'm a fan. Like now, and I'm a journalist.
You think like Von Miller doesn't like look up Patriot? He doesn't look up like keywords on Twitter and like find motivation. He probably looked that up and said, "I'm gonna bust this dude's ass today." You probably got Cam killed.
Okay, if I got, well, then that's a whole nother problem. But what really happened, this is what you don't want to talk about, is the fact that I didn't know at that time that Cam had not practiced with the team and not been around the team for X amount of days. And I didn't realize what the COVID protocols were actually in the NFL. And I didn't realize that he was going to come back from Corona and not know how to throw a football. I didn't know that was a side effect of the coronavirus. Like after you get it, you struggle to throw the football for a little while. Like I didn't know that was the thing.
That's your bad. That's you.
Hey, but it's in there.
That's
hey,
you waged into war without having fully informed yourself on what you were getting yourself into. So, you basically lit a fire that burned out of control there on you. So I'm glad that was the first thing that showed up because I remembered you were pretty arrogant about the Cam Newton signing. So I was like, I can find something.
Do you want to know? Actually, you want me to just out myself?
Well.
Do you want me to out myself?
Respect to your roommate though. Your roommate respect. That was a great call out. Like that's basically got by 9 a.m. you were feeling good, and by 2 a.m. you had been back down to earth like quick. So respect to the roomie on that one, whoever that.
Okay, you want to know why he was monitoring my tweets? You want to make this even better for yourself? You want to make it even better?
I mean, yeah, as long as you're in a giving mood.
So after week 1, I'm an emotional guy, emotional bet guy. And I was like, you know what? We just beat the Miami Dolphins and Cam didn't even throw the ball. Like, imagine if he throws the ball and doesn't just run every play, like maybe we'll win the division again this year. And this is me coming off like all the other teams lost like week 1. Like Bills lost week 1, I think. Miami lost week 1. Or actually, no, Bills didn't lose for a while. So Bills were the only team that won. But obviously Miami lost, Jets lose. So I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a cakewalk. Like Bills are never really that good. So you know how much money I put on my bet for the division?
Oh no, how much?
Do you want to know? Do you really want to know?
It's up to you. It sounds like it's going to be embarrassing in about 30 seconds.
It was a solid $500 bet that like the Patriots were going to win this division.
They were going to win the what? How far did you go?
Just the division.
The division? Oh. See, that's not even a crazy.
But I'm not mad only because the amount I've hit on that bet like in years past has been great, and so like that's awesome. But I'm just upset that it was this year. And I should have known. I should have been more educated, but I was so hyped after that. And I had so much optimism and so much like no one's going to get COVID. I didn't understand how this season was going to go with COVID and all that. Like, I was just like, what do I know from an NFL year? The Patriots are always good. Bet money on Tom Brady. Bet money on the Patriots.
I mean, you've definitely had.
This,
it sounds
all I'm saying is this is the first like friend bet, like bet I made with like just straight up with a friend. First friend bet I've lost.
Okay.
On the Patriots.
That's what I'm saying. You've cashed in quite a bit in your life on the Patriots. They're pretty reliable. But if it were me personally and I lost 500 on a team, I would wish bad things on them for the rest of their history. Like if 500 is barely what the federal government just gave us. Like that's how much that is, or whatever. Like if you lost all that on the Pats,
I hit at the Nino a week before. If we want to get into it,
I'm sure they'll make it up somewhere because Boston's got some good teams and stuff still. Maybe.
Yeah.
They're kind of. You probably cashed in on Titletown for a minute.
Oh, I did for a long time.
Yeah. So you should have a lot saved up.
I didn't talk about it.
That's probably why you got.
I didn't talk about it as much. I didn't like to talk about it as much when I was at Creighton because I didn't want to be like known as like the betting kid who plays on the team. But like, definitely bet on the Patriots. Red Sox made a lot of money on for a while.
So the last topic we got here. This is like your personal challenge or whatever. Jordan wanted. This is like we stole this from Twitter and then we kind of like molded it a little bit. But Jordan wanted us to basically come up with like 5 movies that we replace like characters with Muppets and just explain why. So I didn't come up with 5. I'm gonna be honest. I did not come up with 5. I only came up with 4.
Yeah, I got like 3.
I got good reasons. I have good reasons for why. Yeah, I have good reasons for why I swapped out who I swapped out of these 4 movies. Word. So should we just go one by one until we get to our? But did you come up with 5?
Yeah, I hope we don't overlap here.
Yeah, so you start then. So you came up with 5 because then you can end it with your 5th one.
All right. Well,
You go for pick one movie that's on your list and why. You replace the characters with Muppets.
well, so I have in my list though. I have like, are we getting at like? Because we talked about it yesterday. Are we getting at the funny or are we getting at the like the
You
serious?
choose how. I have a plan for how I want to disperse this group. So you just execute the way you want to execute. But like I feel like mine's gonna get progressively funnier as it goes along. By the time I get to 4, you're gonna think I'm a pretty sick bastard. So like that's the way I'm going with it.
All right. Well, I'm gonna do the one I talked about even yesterday, and then I have written down here as my consensus. Number one overall for this is Good Will Hunting. I think the Good Will Hunting with Muppets would be and
just
but,
so is
but
it
mind
Muppets
you,
across the board?
But no, Matt Damon's character is still Matt Damon, but then he's surrounded by Muppets.
Okay.
But then he's just surrounded by Muppets. That's the one.
So you know what would be a really good scene is like the scene where he what's the girl's name? What's her? I can't remember her. I forgot the character's name. It's Minnie Driver. I know her real name. So it's like when he first meets Minnie Driver in the bar, and that dude is like reciting basic like historical like figures or historians out of context, and Matt Damon's just like schooling him. The "How about them apples" scene, you know what I mean?
Skyla.
Yeah.
Skyla.
Right.
That's how we say it in the Bean.
Yeah.
Skyla.
When he first meets Skylar, like that scene with Muppets and Matt Damon would be pretty freaking hilarious.
Or how about the "How You Like Them Apples" scene?
Yeah, we're just like, and there's like Muppets chilling on the other side of the glass. Just like, how about them apples?
Him and Matt Damon just beating the shit out of some Muppets like, in the street. You're like, what?
Yes. That's a theme for mine as we get going here. You're gonna see. I'm gonna do some violent.
So you want to see some Muppets get their ass beat? Okay.
I'm gonna do some violent things to Muppets as we go along in this process.
Oh God.
So here we go. So my first one is fairly violent, but it involves everybody. So it's like evenly dispersed. So mine's the Boondock Saints, but everybody's Muppets. Everybody.
Oh,
like no one is a non-Muppet character.
That would be hilarious.
But I only did that because
the high pitch.
I didn't want the Muppets only to get like I didn't want only the Muppets to get like violent things happen to them. I wanted them to be cursing and drinking and like killing too. So I think it'd be really funny if I'm trying to think of what character I would make. But remember the bartender with Tourette's or whatever? Remember? He's just like, fuck ass. Like I think that would be hilarious
with
if that
Tourette's,
was like Kermit was doing if like Kermit was in that role. Yeah, where he's just like Kermit's like the Tourette's bartender and he can't like he has to just curse every like drop fuck ass every 30 seconds. Like I think
Kermit, so we can that'll change hilarious. If I could sub Kermit into movies, that changes everything.
Well, that's basically what we're doing. Like you just pick your Muppet and choose where you want him to go, you know.
Oh, say less. Okay. Oh, I got some good ones for that.
So yeah, what's your next one? Okay. So my first one's Boondock Saints. Your first one's Good Will Hunting. So we both started in Boston. So that's all right.
Okay.
So you can see where we're going with that.
So yeah, I guess we can see where we're going with that. I mean, I have another Boston one.
I have one more Boston one too.
It would be hilarious. But I guess the other Boston one I would throw on here that would be hilarious with Muppets. Because now, like, if you're saying like a Kermit the Frog and like another character interaction, like who better for Kermit the Frog than Ted? Like, I think if we throw them, I think if we leave Wahlberg, Ted, and you throw the Muppets in that, and you got to cast the Muppets in there.
Okay.
That like.
So you're saying if Ted was Kermit instead of like Peter Griffin in a bear costume? No.
I'm saying if you add them.
Add the Muppets to that?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm saying throw Kermit on the couch with Ted ripping the bong before him and Mark like go out. Like that's I'm saying throw Kermit in there and throw Miss Piggy in there. They all ripping the ball before they do some dumb shit too. Like
Miss Piggy's in there, like her friends are like the hookers or whatever. That
her friends are like Tammy from the thing, and they're like chewing gum like cash register girls. They're like, "What do you want, Ted?" The Muppets have like Boston accents. Teddy.
That first scene in like Ted 2 where they're fighting, that would in Miss Piggy and Ted. Yeah, that'd be hilarious. Yeah. So if Miss Piggy was Tammy and Ted was like still Ted, yeah, that'd be nice.
That'd be great.
That'd be funny.
That'd be hilarious.
My second one's The Departed, but everyone is a Muppet except for like Captain Queenan. So like Captain Queenan, I feel like is just
the voice of reason.
Yeah, he's like the voice.
Yeah,
he's like
yeah.
he doesn't get too high or too low. He kind of like stays even keel and like mission oriented, you know. And like he just lets
he's
Mark
on topic
Wahlberg.
while nobody else in the movie is.
Yeah,
like,
he lets Mark Wahlberg burn hot. Like he just lets him go off. I think it'd be funny if like of all those characters, including like Mark Wahlberg, was a Muppet. Just like dropping F-bombs, like punching each other in the face and like dropping the C-bomb and stuff.
No, I agree. Like a Boston fight would be hilarious as Muppets with
Boston. Muppets, yeah. That's what I'm saying. So like if Captain Queenan
like a Boston bar fight.
Yeah. Just Captain Queenan stays legit, and then Muppets are just like around him, just wrecking the whole scene. I would be dying basically. That's my second one. Still Boston. That's my last Boston one, I promise.
Yes, I mean, I could throw another Boston one in here, but I got three more, but I think only one of them's kind of good because I thought it through. And so my next one would be like Batman, like
which one?
I really this is where I had trouble.
Okay.
Because I don't know if I want the Muppets to meet the Joker or Bane. I don't know which one would be better.
Ooh, well,
better Muppets. I'm gonna go Joker.
Okay.
I think there's a little bit more there that would be like fun to watch.
So like is like Batman a Muppet? Is that what we're doing? Is that what's happening here?
So I was gonna go like if the whole Batman movie was Muppets, but it was like I'm leaving just the Joker.
Okay, so the villain is not a Muppet. That's what you're saying. Okay. Dude, I think it would be kind of funny with Bane because if you watch like a Muppet
Bane over the Joker though?
Well, hold up though, because the Joker and like Batman don't really get it. They don't really like come to blows. You know what I'm saying? But it'd be funny watching Bane fight like a Muppet Batman.
That would be funny.
Like break his back and stuff, and like smash his face in. Like I think it'd be funny to see Bane.
That would be funnier.
Bane,
I guess.
Like talks some like poetic.
You're right.
He unleashed like a poetic ass whipping. Like he was dropping bars while he was beating his ass.
While he was doing it, yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be funny if Batman was like a helpless Muppet that whole time. It's like
I think if we get into that,
like even the League of Shadows, like leave him alone. Like they be shooting at Bane, like stop beating up that poor puppet. Like damn.
No, definitely if we get into the action of it, because I think if it's not the action of it, then I think the only reason I said Joker is like the Joker's like one-liners and conversations with Batman, like that's funnier to me if it's not Christian Bale's voice and if it's like a Muppet voice.
Well, the interrogation scene with the Joker with a Muppet as Batman would be hysterical.
Hysterical.
Like that would be. I'd probably die laughing at that.
That's what I'm saying.
Because the Joker's like, I'm gonna burn the whole world down, and you know I should.
And then imagine like a
yes. Okay, I see that. But also, like I was on the theme about what happens to the Muppets, so that's why I chose these next two. So that's why.
Okay.
So I kind of like gave you a peek into my motivation there by telling you that Bane should beat a Muppet's ass. Like so this is where I'm going with the next one.
You're trying to 007 the shit out of these Muppets. Okay.
Quality reference first of all, because I like my first like first person shooter, like when I was a youngin was 007.
007
and 64. Yeah.
Same. I had it on PS2 though. PS2.
Dude, that's why we have a podcast together because we're synced.
That might be it.
What's the Iron Man 3 thing? We're connected. Yeah, we got that. So my next one is I really like my last one, so I'm saving it for last. But my next one is 30 Days of Night. 30 Days of Night. Have you seen that?
I have not.
Okay. So for people who haven't seen it, 30 Days of Night is a vampire movie that's like it's shot in Alaska or whatever. It like takes place in Alaska where there's like it's like there's like these ancient vampires that like go to this town that has no sunrise for 30 days and they just annihilate the whole town. They like just eat everybody. So my thing would be the town would be the Muppets and the vampires would still be just vampires. So like basically they go to this town and just like rip throats apart of a bunch of Muppets and then like the Muppets have to find out a way to kill them and survive and stuff like that. So If you haven't seen the movie, go watch 30 Days.
I want to tap in. It sounds interesting.
Yeah, and then pretend that they're Muppets. So that's my thing. I wanted to see a bunch of Muppets get like mutilated by vampires. So that's why I chose 30 Days of Night. That was my third one.
So I wish I knew more about it to like confirm that was great.
Yeah, I know I kind of killed your vibe a little bit because you haven't seen it.
I just haven't seen it.
If I can send you some scenes, yeah.
I don't like want to go back and then watch this movie and see like cannibalism and then be like, what is wrong with you, Matt? So we'll just let that die. We'll let that die.
We're not gonna let it die because I know you've seen the fourth one and you're gonna think I'm sick when I tell you about it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but I know
you're getting scared though. You're like, Jesus, this dude's.
So I think my fun one was switching gears. Kind of wanted to throw a little Marvel in there, and I thought a real fun one just because we talked about like Marvel guys, like Captain America loves to give his speeches. Would think that was hilarious if they were all Muppets in that one, but then personally, because like I really want a even better reason to watch this, Scarlett Johansson and Black Widow gets to still be in it, but everybody else is Muppets. So like to see her in that and whoop ass.
So it's just Avengers with Scarlett Johansson and a bunch of Muppets, basically.
Yeah.
Which one? Like I want to picture some scenes. Like which movie?
The only reason I said the Captain America one is just the first one with Scarlett Johansson, just because she's.
Winter Soldier.
I mean, I guess we could throw. Yeah, I guess we could throw. You could throw the Iron Man 3 that she's in too.
Well, Winter Soldier was like a big ensemble because like there was like a whole bunch of Shield agents that got their ass whipped. Yeah. So like if Cap is beating a bunch of like the elevator scene with Cap beating a bunch of Muppets up, like that would be funny.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So like you have those scenes which are cool, but then it's also like you have your most attractive Avenger in there, so you still have her in human form.
Okay.
So it's still.
So you went with the more like you were looking for some eye candy with some Muppets, basically.
There's no eye candy in none of my movies until that one, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. So
and she's badass. She kicks ass. She'll kick ass with the Muppets.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It'll be fun to watch it happen. So yeah.
All right. I dig that one. All right, I got you. Is that your third or your fourth one? That's your fourth one, right? Yeah. Okay. So here's my last one. I only came up with 4. This one's good, but like it's good for multiple reasons. So I think I can satisfy a bunch of people with this one because I'm not gonna Muppetize, if I can make up a word right there. I'm not gonna Muppetize everybody. I'm only gonna Muppetize a select group of people.
Okay.
A very minor cast of characters here.
Here we go.
Mine is Rogue One, but
you got me.
Mine is Rogue One, but the Muppets are the rebel soldiers at the end that Darth Vader just absolutely demolishes in that tunnel, in that like hallway. So that's the only. So my thinking was Rogue One is the best Star Wars movie in my opinion, and should be everybody's opinion. So you get to watch a good movie all the way up to it's like basically its climax, and then all of a sudden we're gonna switch gears on you, and we're gonna show you a bunch of Muppets in a hallway. And then Darth Vader's just going to shove lightsabers up their ass, basically. Like,
that's good.
Absolutely own them.
I like that. It's
just screaming.
I like that because you have a specific...
And they're just going to get, it's just Muppet mutilation for about 15 seconds and sheer panic and fear because Darth Vader is like in the hallway just killing all these Muppets. And then
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
So that's what I thought was. I thought that'd be funny. A way to like end the movie on a lighthearted note. Was to be like watch Darth Vader kill a bunch of Muppets with his lightsaber.
No, I had I had here
force choke Kermit and like throw him against the wall. Like that's just beautiful. That's beautiful.
So what I wrote down was I'm glad you brought this up because I was going to preface my last pick by asking if I could make it a episode of The Mandalorian or if I had to pick the Star Wars movie I was going to do.
I'll allow some Mando.
So I was going to say the last episode of Mando, just because I want similar to how you just said, I want that last scene. Give me the Luke Skywalker scene. Give me Muppet Luke in Muppet Dark Troopers. I want to see him go to town and then just arrive in the cabin where it's Muppet Baby Yoda, Muppet Mando. And that's the only scene I need. That's the only scene I need. Now, if we're just doing scenes, I just want that scene. I want No, I'm taking your theme
That
because
one
you're
would be
like, all
funny.
right, I want to
That one
see.
would be funny because, like, I think when people saw the like green lightsaber, they were like, "Oh my God, Luke!" Like jaw dropping, like tears and all that stuff, and like watching him, you knew who it was dominating the Dark Troopers.
Yeah.
So I think, but like then the reveal was pulling off the cloak and like seeing the CGI of Luke and whatever. I think it'd be funny as hell.
With Muppets, they'd be like,
if that's a Muppet,
yeah,
you're just
yeah,
like,
they'd be
what?
like,
What?
blonde Muppet? Who is that? Blonde Muppet? Who is it?
That would be a pretty good twist, I think. Like that's
because then
you
stuff. and then you change the dialogue because then the Muppet's like,
yeah, he has like a weird voice.
He puts it down and then like we're supposed to just get who it is and
yeah. Then you're like then you just like end on utter confusion. You're like, what the why the fuck? Who's this Muppet Jedi with a green lightsaber? Like, what's
yeah. Why did the episode just end? Why did it just end? Like, why did he reveal his face as if I was supposed to know who he was? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Totally like, just put everybody on tilt. Twitter would be like, "What the fuck, man?"
Yeah, Twitter would be like, "This is the worst episode ever." Like,
dude,
what is going on?
Like, everybody would go from like the ultimate high of seeing that green lightsaber, like doing work.
Yeah,
only for
being like, "I hate this series.
I
hate this series. I don't even."
Yeah, dude. Oh my God.
Oh wait, now I want to change it. Now I just want him to be a Muppet. Like everybody else can be the same.
Yeah.
I just want Luke Skywalker to be a Muppet.
That'd be hilarious, dude. Oh my God. That'd be such. I don't know why Hollywood doesn't mess with people like that more often.
Oh my gosh,
dude,
that would be ridiculous.
There would be.
Can you imagine if we were sitting here talking about like right now, like, yo, why was the end of Mandalorian a Muppet? Like, imagine if that would dominate. Yo, dude, that would dominate news headlines. Yes,
people would need therapy.
Yeah.
I watched. I'm not kidding you. I can send you some links. Like I've seen like Mando reaction videos where people are like crying watching Luke just decimate.
Oh no, I need them all. I need them all.
That's what I'm saying. Like, just picture the scene. Like, you can't see what they're watching, so like, it's just Luke lightsabering Dark Troopers, so that you hear all the sound effects, and people are crying like on camera because they think it's Luke because they're like, oh my God, this is beautiful watching him mutilate all these Dark Troopers, and they're crying. So for them to be like go from like super emotional state of like happy tears, to then him pull the cloak off and like it's a Muppet, that would just destroy people.
Oh yeah,
they would need therapy.
Would be hilarious.
Yeah,
that would be hilarious.
I'd be so.
We'll have to talk to somebody in Hollywood. You know, one day when this podcast blows up, we'll have the contacts for it. So we'll be able to write our own episodes at that point.
Love it. That was fun. That was a fun way to end the weekend.
Great way to end it. Great way to end it.
You gonna wrap us up?
No, you do it.
You want me to wrap us up?
I got us.
It's all good.
I think that's the episode, man. I think that's a Sunday night for us. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, it's been a real fun conversation, and sorry if we diverged too much, but hope you guys stayed along for the journey because
everybody needs to hit us up with their list of movies, though. Like, what are you doing with the Muppets?
We need that. We need more feedback. Feedback. Definitely want to hear more of what you guys want to hear and all that. We go on our own tangents because we feel like we do have good content a lot of the times, and I like expanding on what we do. So, I mean, just give us stuff, man. Anybody who listens, like, if you made it this far, you definitely deserve us to answer any questions you have or anything. So, no, for real, just shoot us out always on Twitter or anything. I don't know. I'm willing to tap into that and give the people what they really want to hear. So,
next time, when we have guests on, we'll do mailbags and stuff. We'll get you guys' questions.
Yeah.
We'll let you guys interact a little bit and be a part of the show.
Absolutely.
Not let us have all the fun. That's not fair.
Yeah. No, you guys got to tune in too and hopefully have just as much fun as us. So thank you guys again. Have a great, Sunday night. This will be released on a Monday. So have a great Monday night. And stay safe still. Stay safe still. Happy
New Year, everybody. Let's have a better 2021. Like, everybody be better. Just incremental improvements across the board, and it'll be like a good year.
All of us. Let's all just vouch to do better. That's all.
All right. We out.